They came from behind. Fast. Quiet. Kenneth didn't even see the knife. It was 6:42 p.m. August 17th, 2019. Little Rock, Arkansas. He had just bent down to tie his daughter's shoelace. That's when they struck. Two men. One blade. His little girl screamed. Blood hit the sidewalk. Kenneth grabbed her, shoved her behind him. But it was too late. He was surrounded. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. This story is based on real events reported by police and news sources. Kenneth Anderson was 33. A working dad. A vac technician. No enemies. No criminal record. Just a man trying to do right. He loved sneakers. He loved sweet tea. And more than anything, he loved his daughter, MIA. Every Friday, they walked to the corner store. Ice cream for her. Gatorade for him. It was their little ritual. But that night, it all went wrong. The corner store was only 2 blocks away. The sun was going down. The air was thick and heavy. Kenneth wore his old "Don't Tread on Me" shirt. MIA had on her pink unicorn hoodie. Her favorite. They were walking past the Baptist church on 12th Street. That's when Kenneth noticed 2 shadows behind them. Not walking fast. Just close. Too close. He turned around. The men looked away. But Kenneth felt it. Something was off. He pulled MIA closer. Picked up the pace. Then, snap. Her shoelace came undone. They stopped. She bent down. He followed. That's when the first guy pulled the knife. He didn't say a word. Just lunged forward. Kenneth spun around. The blade cut across his ribs. He yelled, "Run, MIA! Go!" The second man tried to grab her. Kenneth tackled him hard to the ground. MIA ran. She ran toward the corner store. Screaming. A woman coming out of the store heard her. Grabbed her. Called 911. Back on the sidewalk. Kenneth was bleeding bad. He was still fighting. Still throwing punches. But they had a knife. He didn't. They stabbed him 4 times. Chest. Back. Side. Then they ran. Neighbors rushed out. Sirens came fast. Kenneth was still alive. Barely. He was whispering, "Is she okay? Is she okay?" EMTs found him on his side. Covered in blood. His hand outstretched like he was reaching for her. They got him to the hospital. He died 2 hours later. MIA never left his side. She was 7 years old. In the US, 1 in 4 men are victims of violent assault. CDC, 2022. Most freeze. Not Kenneth. He fought. He protected. He died a hero. That's why we added a real self-defense course made by law enforcement and martial arts experts. It's in the description and pinned comment. 1 hour that might save your life. The attack was random. That's what police said at first. No robbery. No gang connection. Just 2 men. Looking for someone to hurt. Little Rock PD launched a citywide search. Local news stations aired Mia's story. 1 man. 2 suspects. No leads. Until 1 month later, a tip came in. A witness. She said she saw the 2 men the night before, sitting in a black Nissan at the gas station across from the church. Looking around. Talking fast. Like they were planning something. Detectives checked surveillance. And there they were. 2 faces. one with a red bandana, one with a neck tattoo. The neck tattoo matched a known felon. Terrence T.J. Miles, 26. Out on parole. Known for armed robberies. The other guy? Demetrius Cole, 24. His cousin. Police tracked their phones. Pinged both near 12th Street that night. They had them. SWAT moved in. Raided a duplex on Wright Avenue. TJ tried to run. Didn't make it 2 steps. Both men were arrested. At trial, MIA testified. She stood up in court. Brave. She said, "My daddy pushed me away. He told me to run. He saved me." The jury cried. So did the judge. Both men got life. No parole. Today, MIA lives with her aunt. She still wears that unicorn hoodie. She visits her dad's grave every month. Puts pink flowers on the stone. Says, I remember it all." Most people freeze because they've never been trained. Kenneth didn't. But you can be ready too. Check the self-defense link in the description. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down how 2 cousins turned cold-blooded. Why no one saw it coming. And what clue in a Facebook photo helped take them down. Let's get into the full story. Kenneth was face down in the dirt. And his little boy, he was still standing there. Frozen. Not crying. Not screaming. Just stuck. Like his brain couldn't understand what just happened. The gunshot rang out only 10 seconds ago. Neighbors were running out their doors. One woman was already on the phone yelling. He got a child with him. Hurry. Another man across the street was shouting. Stay back, there's blood, someone's shot. The shooter was gone. Fast. Hoodie up. Black pants. Boots hitting the sidewalk like thunder. He ran right through the alley, cut behind the fence, and vanished into the city. That was East St. Louis, Illinois. March 18th, 2021. A Thursday. Just before noon. And right now, a 6-year-old boy was standing in front of his dying father. With no idea what to do. You're watching an unbelievable true story. We don't tell these stories to scare you. We tell them to prepare you. This story is based on real events reported by police and news sources. And trust me, it could happen to anyone. Backtrack. Just a little. That morning, Kenneth Anderson had a good day. He wasn't rich. He wasn't perfect. But he was proud. 36 years old. A mechanic. Hard hands. Soft heart. And his son, Jalen, was his world. Jalen had school that morning, but it was a half day. Kenneth picked him up early. They stopped at a gas station, grabbed a soda and some chips, and walked the rest of the way home. They were 2 blocks away from their apartment when it happened. 2 blocks. Now let me tell you something that hurts. Kenneth wasn't even the target. The guy who shot him was looking for someone else. Somebody he thought owed him money. Somebody who supposedly talked to the cops. Kenneth? He just looked like him. You ever hear that before? Shot for looking like someone else? Happens more than you think. People get jumped, stabbed, even killed, because someone thought they were the person. The shooter had been waiting. Witnesses later told police. A guy in a hoodie was hanging around that alley all morning. Just pacing. Looking out. He wasn't hiding. He was hunting. So when Kenneth and Jalen walked by, boom. That was it. He came out from the alley, pulled a black handgun, and fired. Just once. Right in the back. No warning. No yelling. No robbery. Just a straight-up hit. Then he ran. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you were holding your kid's hand and a man pointed a gun at your back? You wouldn't even see it coming. That's the part that haunts me. Kenneth never saw him. Didn't even get to turn around. Police showed up fast. Sirens. Screaming. People waving. Jalen was still standing next to his dad's body when the cops arrived. An officer scooped him up. Son, are you hurt? Are you okay? Can you tell me your name? All Jalen said was, "Is my dad waking up?" The paramedics tried. Chest compressions. Oxygen. They loaded Kenneth into the ambulance and sped to Memorial Hospital. But it was too late. 36 years old. Dead on arrival. Let me tell you more about Kenneth. He wasn't just a name. He wasn't just a headline. He was a father. A brother. A son. He worked on engines. Fixed brakes. Loved watching football with his cousins. He used to pick up Jalen from daycare with oil still on his hands. He didn't have enemies. He wasn't in a gang. Didn't sell drugs. Didn't owe anyone money. All he did was walk his child home. And now his child has to grow up without him. According to the CDC, 2022, 1 in 4 men are victims of violent crime. And most of them never see it coming. That's why we added a real self-defense course in the description and pinned comment. Built by combat trainers, it teaches how to stop threats fast and protect your space. Even if you're outnumbered. Even if you're surprised. 1 hour of training could mean survival. The shooter? Still out there. As of 2024, no one has been arrested. No charges. No confession. Just silence. Police released a blurry image from a nearby gas station camera. Dark hoodie. Mask. Running west down an alley. That's it. The neighborhood started a small mural. Kenneth's picture. Flowers. Candles. A handwritten sign from Jalen. I miss my daddy. Jalen lives with his aunt now. He doesn't talk much. But he plays with cars. Just like his dad used to fix. He asks sometimes, "Will the bad man come back?" And his aunt just hugs him and says, "Not if I can help it." Now stay with me. Because in the next batch, we'll show you how a neighbor almost caught the killer. What Kenneth said in his final breath. And how one mistake changed everything. Let's keep going. So, what happened next? Well, let me tell you. There was this man named Ronnie Wells. Lived 2 doors down from Kenneth. He heard the shot. Loud. Sharp. Like a hammer hitting steel. He rushed out barefoot. Didn't even have his phone. Didn't even think. All he saw was a black man in a hoodie running full speed down the alley. And right there, lying near the sidewalk, was Kenneth. Ronnie yelled, "Hey!" and started chasing the guy. But it was too late. The alley twisted. There was a fence. The guy vaulted it like he had done it 100 times. By the time Ronnie got around the block, the shooter was gone. But Ronnie saw something important. A tattoo. Right on the guy's neck. Big letters. Said Killjoy. Police wrote it down. They searched local gang databases. But nothing came up. Nobody with that exact mark. No matches in the system. Kenneth's funeral was 1 week later. It rained. Jalen stood there, holding a small white rose. He didn't cry. Just looked down at the casket like it didn't make sense. Like, why is Daddy in that box? Everyone tried to stay strong. But when they lowered Kenneth into the ground, people broke. Aunt Lisa dropped to her knees. His cousin Jermaine punched a tree. Jalen whispered, "I'll be good now, Daddy. I promise." After that, the media stopped talking. No updates. No leads. Just another story in the pile. You know how it is. Unless you're rich, white, or famous, your case disappears. But Aunt Lisa didn't stop. She put up flyers, talked to news crews. She even set up her own tip hotline. She went online and made a Facebook page. Justice for Kenneth Anderson. And you know what? People started talking. One woman, anonymous, messaged her, "I saw the guy who did it. He comes to the gas station on 9th and Chestnut. Drives a grey Chrysler. He has a tattoo that says Killjoy. But I ain't saying my name. I got kids." Aunt Lisa gave that info to the cops. They followed up, pulled camera footage from that gas station. And guess what? There he was. Same build. Same hoodie. Tattoo peeking up from his collar. He walked in, bought a Swisher and a soda, and left. But the plates on his car? Stolen. They ran the image through facial recognition. Still no match. The guy didn't exist in the system. No fingerprints. No priors. No nothing. Like he was a ghost. You know what hurts? Jalen started drawing pictures of his dad, with a red dot on his back. When Aunt Lisa asked, "What's that, baby?" he said, "That's where the bad man touched him." She had to step out of the room and cry. One night, months later, Jalen woke up screaming, "He's coming! He's coming!" Aunt Lisa ran in. "Baby, baby, it's okay. Nobody's coming. You're safe." He curled into her arms like a baby. Let me pause here, because this ain't just a sad story. It's a warning. According to the CDC, 2022, 1 in 4 men in the US are victims of violence. And most of it comes without warning. That's why we added a real self-defense course in the description and pinned comment. Made by police and martial artists. Shows you how to fight smart and survive ambushes like this. No fluff. Just survival. Back to the case. A year passed. Then 2. Still no arrest. The case went cold. But not for Aunt Lisa. She started connecting with other families, other victims. They shared names, faces, stories. And guess what? 4 of them said the same thing. They saw a guy in a hoodie with a tattoo that said Killjoy. In 3 of those cases, someone was shot. But no one ever pressed charges. Because they were scared. Or because the police didn't have enough. So what do you do when you know the killer is still out there? When your child has to grow up looking over their shoulder? When the justice system just shrugs? You stay loud. You keep telling the story. Because someone out there knows something. And one person, one tip, one voice could change everything. Let's wrap up batch 3. But in the next part, we'll go deep into how the system failed Kenneth. Why the killer might have been a paid hitman. And how a child's drawing almost led to a major break in the case. Stay with me. Because this isn't over yet. So, you want to know how a child's drawing almost cracked the case? Let me tell you something. Kids? They remember stuff. Even when they can't say it right. Jalen started going to therapy. A nice lady named Miss Carla. She had toys. Markers. Paper. She said, "Draw me what you remember about that day." And Jalen? He drew a car. Grey. For doors. And next to it? A man. Big, dark hoodie. And on his neck? A squiggle. Miss Carla looked closer. It wasn't just a squiggle. It was a word. In big letters. Killjoy. She froze. Because Miss Carla had read about Kenneth's case. And she knew. This wasn't just a drawing. This was a memory. She got Aunt Lisa. Showed her the paper. Aunt Lisa broke down. I told y'all he saw something. The therapist got permission to talk to the police. Detectives came. Looked at the picture. Matched it to the gas station footage. And suddenly, the case was hot again. They started digging deeper. New detective on the case. Detective Monica Reyes. Sharp. No nonsense. Didn't like loose ends. She looked through gang intel again. Focused on underground sets, not just registered crews. Guess what? They found a guy. Street name, Killjoy. Real name, Marcus Dean Holloway. No priors. But known in the streets as a ghost shooter. A ghost shooter means no fingerprints. No phones. No witnesses. He worked for cash. Disappeared for months at a time. Detective Reyes got a warrant. Searched his last known spot, an apartment on Fremont Street. He wasn't there. But they found something chilling. A kid's toy. Broken plastic truck. Guess what? Same toy brand Jalen had the day his dad died. They ran DNA swabs. Found Kenneth's blood on a shirt. Tucked in the corner of a dirty laundry basket. Boom. They had a match. But Holloway was gone. Vanished. Last known sighting? 6 weeks earlier, bought a burner phone in Arizona. Then, nothing. Aunt Lisa said, I don't care how long it takes. They found Bin Laden. They can find him. So what now? Jalen's 8 now. He plays soccer. Still keeps a picture of his dad in his backpack. When he scores, he looks up to the sky. And smiles. You know what breaks your heart? He still won't go near the alley. Won't ride his bike past it. Won't even say the word alley. It's just the bad place. And the system? Still hasn't caught Holloway. Still hasn't charged anyone else. No answers about why Kenneth was targeted. No proof it was random. But we got theories. Mistaken identity. Maybe Kenneth looked like someone else. Targeted hit, some say Kenneth saw something months before. Wrong place, wrong time, just a man outside, holding his son. But here's what we know. A man died. In front of his son. On a calm afternoon. For no reason. And the killer? He's still out there. Maybe sitting at a diner. Maybe working a job. Maybe watching his own kids sleep. So now what? You stay aware. Because violence don't always knock. Sometimes, it creeps up behind you. Quiet. Fast. Final. That's why we added a men's self-defense course in the description and pinned comment. It's built by real combat trainers. Simple. Direct. Real moves to stop someone fast. No fluff. 1 hour could change everything. Let's wrap up batch 4. In the final part, we'll talk about the night Jalen told the full truth. Why one anonymous phone call changed everything. And how Kenneth's story shook a whole neighborhood to its core. Stay tuned. The truth is about to hit even harder. Jalen was sitting on the porch. Quiet. Drawing with chalk. It was just lines. Swirls. Big messy clouds. Miss Carla asked, "What's that?" He said, "That's the man who took my daddy." She froze. Weeks had passed. Jalen had barely spoken about that day. But now? He was opening up. Miss Carla grabbed her notepad. "What did he do, sweetie?" Jalen pointed to a shape. "He pushed Daddy. Daddy said, 'Run.' Then I heard the bang." She asked, "Was anyone else there?" Jalen nodded. "One more man. He had on black shoes. Red on the bottom." She wrote it down. "Red soles." That wasn't random. That was detail. A week later, an anonymous call came into the police tip line. A woman's voice. Shaky. Scared. She said, "I saw it happen. I was in the alley that day, getting something from my car." The dispatcher asked, "Can we get your name?" "No. They'll kill me." But listen. The man had a scar on his cheek. Left side. Looked like a knife cut. Then she hung up. Detective Reyes checked the files. Marcus Holloway. Guess what? Scar on his cheek. Left side. Deep and long, from an old fight in prison. That was enough. They got federal support. Task force. Warrants. Phone pings. And then they found him. Dallas, Texas. Working under a fake name at a car wash. SWAT moved in. No warning. They took him down at 6:43 a.m. He had a knife in his boot. A burner phone in his coat. And in his car? A photo. Crumbled. Faded. It was Jalen. Someone had mailed it to him. No note. Just the photo. Detective Reyes said he kept that. That's guilt. Or maybe pride. At the station, Holloway didn't say a word. Not one. Lawyered up fast. Trial began 8 months later. Jalen was too young to testify. But they had the drawing. The shirt. The DNA. The tip. And the scar. The jury? Didn't take long. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life without parole. The courtroom? Silent. Aunt Lisa wept. So did the prosecutor. Justice had come. But it took blood, fear, and years. Now let's pause here. Because you need to know something important. 1 in 4 men will be attacked in their lifetime. CDC, 2022. And most men? They don't talk about it. They think, I got this. Until it's too late. Kenneth wasn't weak. He was strong. But ambushes don't care how strong you are. That's why we added a real self-defense course in the video description and pinned comment. Made by real trainers. Used by law enforcement. Teaches men how to fight back fast, no fluff, no ego. 1 hour. 1 shot to survive. Let's go back to Jalen. It's been 3 years. He's 9 now. Plays baseball. Loves math. Eats too many orange popsicles. But some nights, he still wakes up crying. Calls for his dad. And Lisa? She sits on the edge of his bed. Holds his hand. Whispers, he's with us, baby. Always. Kenneth's picture is still on the mantel. Smiling. Big laugh. Eyes full of light. And that alley? It's been painted over. New lights. Security cams. But folks around there still call it Kenneth's Corner. They say he protected his son. With everything he had. Now ask yourself. What would you have done in his shoes? Would you have seen it coming? Would you have fought back? Could you? This is a true story. Every detail came from news reports, police files, and court records. You can look it up. And if you think this can't happen to you, Think again. Because violence doesn't knock. It just walks up. Quiet. Fast. Final. Final words. Kenneth Anderson was more than a name. He was a father. A son. A friend. A protector. He died saving his boy. And his story should never be forgotten. But our next story? It starts with a man who vanished after one last text. And ends in a cruel space full of lies. Subscribe now to an unbelievable true story. Because the next truth we uncover might hit even closer to home.